Here's a little bit more from our speaker.
In our context, what we do lots of times, in our services is we will mention, a handful of issues. Like, we know a lot of you are, in homosexual relationships. A lot of you deal with, and we'll just reel off 5 or 6 different issues that we all wrestle with, actually. And we put that in that category and say, no matter where you are in your spiritual journey, we're just thrilled that you're here.
That's great.
And you have an interest in God. And, your issue is probably different than my issue, but every one of us got issues in here.
That's great.
Yeah.
This issue becomes tougher, I think, the younger we go in age.
Yeah.
Because I think for older generations, homosexuality was a taboo subject that was never talked about.
Yeah, that's true.
But now that it's become acceptable to talk about in the culture at large, more people come out, and then you talk to a 17-year-old and he has heroes on television and sports and music and friends in school who are out.
Yeah.
And so suddenly it's a more personal issue. That brings to my mind this question. A lot of churches are in code red when it comes to people 16 to 30.
Yeah.
What do you think we have to do to respond to that?
Well, I think we've got to respond. I think that if a church's primary leadership is made up of a bunch of 40, 50, and 60-year-olds, and they're trying to figure out how to program their church for that, that's a losing proposition.
Yeah.
And to me these days, if you don't have many in the age category, the 20-something category, I would import a group of people in. I would find a way of sitting them down and saying, so how can we strategically think about our services, about our groups, about the way that we brand things around here and communicate things? What else would you do?
Well, actually, something that brings to my mind, I think this problem has many, many levels. One of them is the success of youth ministry, because very often youth ministry is so exciting, and then people graduate from youth ministry and they come into a service that just is not nearly as helpful for them. I think one of the things we ought to do is start thinking of people the way the Jewish people always have. That when you reach the age of 13, we accept you as an adult member of the congregation.
That's interesting.
And your statement would suggest then, or your suggestion would say, we bring in 13 and 15 and 16-year-olds and we listen to them. They have a voice.
Right.
They're not just the cute little entertainment one Sunday a year, but their voice is taken seriously. That would really help us a lot.
Yeah, I think it would as well. I know for us in our context at Discovery Church, we have a 20-something community that's a very large community that has services on Sunday nights, but we make them interact, or we have them interact with the leadership team, with the elders, with the arts team on a regular basis, so that we're regularly learning from each other, and we're incorporating various things. So that's another deal.
I always like to tell people, John Calvin, who's very important to a lot of Protestants, wrote the Institutes of the Christian Religion between the ages of 19 and 25. He finished it when he was 25.
That's frightening.
But
it's great. Yeah.
And what that tells us is that, and Jesus, 30, he was
great point.
He was at the top of his game.
Yeah.
And so one of the things we have to do is really take the voices of our Christians more seriously when they're younger.
Yeah.
Now there are so many other issues, but I think when we start dealing with those other issues, one of them would be, for example, for our older generations, when they think what are the big moral issues, they usually think abortion and homosexual marriage, might be one or two others. Talk to our younger generations, and they have a completely different set of issues.
Yeah.
Genocide, war, the environment, and poverty are going to come up right away.
Yeah.
And that's going to make some of our older folks uncomfortable if we bring those in as significant issues that have to be taken seriously.
I agree.